All right. Thank you so much for joining us. It's another beautiful day, and you're blessed to have Francisca Collaço in the house. Last time we talked about amazing stuff, the life journey of Jessica, and today she joins us again to go on that journey on exploring how and when and what and why women should be involved in tech now than ever before. Jessica, welcome.
Thanks, Mike.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice to see you. You look good.
I do?
Yeah. Karibu sana. And Jessica, actually your life is fascinating up to this point in time. And one of the things that actually amazes me is how versatile, how resilient you are. Given all the life brings to you, you've always emerged very, very, very resilient, if I may say that. And one of the things that actually I've known even back in the days, which is a decade ago, is that you are the only young lady, very vibrant, very active. When I used to come at iHub sometime, I could always find you interacting with different people, helping at different capacity. And you actually happen to build a lot of stuff around iHub. And beyond that, you're still also building and helping others to build it, right? I would like you at least to talk a bit of things that you started at iHub and how they metamorphosized to what you are right now, and what even actually encourages you to help others build, their tech stuff and their tech ecosystem through your company.
Right. Thanks, Michael. It's interesting that you observed that while you were there. There were just so many people coming through the iHub in the last couple of years from 2010 onwards. It was difficult to keep track of the number of people coming through, but we do remember the original community. And when I say the original community from 2010 to 2012 to 13, I mean, that was a solid hardcore community that really helped each other.
Yeah.
What keeps me going and what gives me the drive to actually be resilient and keep on helping people? Well, I think it comes also from my upbringing, especially, again, I'll mention my mom, Collaço. My mom was very kind and gentle and had a very giving nature. So I spent a lot of time with my mom when I was young, growing up, and from high school. My holidays would be with her at her business. And I think just being around somebody who's so warm-hearted and gentle and always vibrant and talking to people, I think that innately gets to you, right? Yeah. So as I grew up, I think fast forwarding this to my days just out of university, what I'd say is some people have the privilege of being around certain people who have a network, and some don't. Yes. And then some people have the ability to do things, but they don't have the ability to actually see their full potential. But others around them are able to. So I don't know whether this is a discernment from the Almighty Himself, the Lord, but I had an innate nature of actually spotting raw talent in a room and just saying I think that person is actually capable of doing actually X more than they can actually do. Yeah. So I would just spend time talking to different people. That was the iHub community at that point in time, just getting to know what they liked, and then connecting them to different members within the community and seeing what would sprout out of that. Yeah. And sometimes a project, collaboration, in terms of a project and maybe actually working together. So the essence of actually, back to your question, how I'm able to actually like keep helping the other person was my ability to become a little more self-aware that I did have the privilege of having a lot of people around me that I could tap into. And just again, my mom pushing me to say, go and talk to the people because they are around you.
Yeah.
You're around them every day.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be playing guitar today if it wasn't for my mom. She actually took me to the parish priest of Don Bosco and said, look, she wants to join the choir. And I was this shy person. I was like, I'm not coming. I used to play guitar in the car, in the church. And she's like, let's go. So that gave me the confidence, right? So I think you need somebody like my mom to help give you that confidence boost and say that you can actually just have a conversation with someone. So while I was at Strathmore as a management consultant, I had Edwin Nyanducha around me, who is like ex-PwC, ex-Deloitte. He taught me a lot of the ropes of how the management consultancy world functions. And then you had Dr. Sevilla, who wanted me to lecture, right? And pushing me to do a master's. And I was like, wow, these people are really like after my welfare. You know, you don't have people doing that for you.
Yeah, not all the time.
So I was like, wow, I have this privilege of people actually pushing me because they can see the potential in me. And I was like, I need to pay it forward. And I used to mentor a lot of students at Strathmore. And to date, those students have actually become people I've learned from or people I'm actually working with right now. So you never know where these collaborations and paying it forward and just taking time to talk to people can take you. I think humility and being nimble goes a long way. Even though you've kind of like started the first tech hub in Kenya and you've started multiple startups and you've had this network and you have been a TED fellow, I think you never forget where you come from.
For sure.
Your roots, the origin, how you started, the people who actually helped you get there. Obviously, it's the hard work and all that you put in, but just don't forget from where you came from. And a person I like to mention that gives me a lot of inspiration on this is Ambassador Professor Bitange Nemo. He's got a lot of humility and nimbleness in him. You mentioned a couple of things that actually I would like us to focus a little bit to get the perspective. I've not seen one person who has really achieved beyond themselves who is not spiritually connected. You mentioned a couple of things from the religion, from your mother, from things that actually are internal and then they're seen externally. So how spiritual are you, Jessica? Wow. I would say I'm more spiritual than religious. I do believe that I am Roman Catholic. I was brought up as a Roman Catholic and studied in a Catholic school, Loreto Valley Road. And I would say it's faith. It's really faith. I think we kind of like protected if you believe, Michael, and have that faith. I think that is key. Religion is a doctrine. Religion teaches us how to go about the ways of observing spirituality. But faith is really important to have. And if you believe in the Almighty, if you believe in God, if you believe that everything around you is created by Him, I think that's the most important. So I encourage people who are trying to find their spirituality is that try to not focus on the religion so much, but really try and focus on the faith part of things. And once you have the faith part, then you're able to understand a little more. And do you think, Jessica, we in this world to also create in one or the other, also contribute in the God's creation that already exists
because I've seen so much confusion at least at the moment, where people rely so much on the religion as opposed to well-being, individual spirituality, where you can discover who you are, your purpose, and serve it fully, as opposed to where you're confused by what is going at that particular point,
Right. Okay. I'll not. I have fallen off like the religious journey. Like, you fall off. You're a very staunch Catholic when you're in high school and then university, and I think because us playing so much in church for different weddings and things like that, you start questioning. Okay, so why am I a Christian? Why am I a Catholic? So I used to attend a lot of talks at church just to understand, what is Christianity, what is faith, what is the religion, just understanding more about the Catholic or the doctrine or the Roman Catholic doctrine. And then I would have these conversations with my mom, and sometimes would also challenge a bit of the status quo with the Catholic religion. That's what I loved about my mom. She was kind of like very open and curious in her thinking as well. And we'd have these conversations and say, like, there are all these religions, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Muslim, whether you're Hindu, and it goes on. It's still the same God. At the end of the day,
there's only one.
There's still the same God, but you are paying, you're adoring Him, and you're paying reverence to Him in different ways. So at the end of the day, however you do it, you respect the different groups, that the way they actually give respect and reverence to Him. And I think those who actually are not religious or not faithful or not spiritual, like they're atheists or anything, I mean, you need to respect people's views. You can't really try and sway them the other way. I think you need to respect people's views. But I think for me, at the end of the day, there's one God, and people pay homage to Him in different ways, and that's what I respect. But the spirituality is also, you as a person. Why are you on this earth? What is your purpose in life? Why do you wake up every day to do what you do? And I think what I've realized in the last, probably in the last like 8 years, close to 8 years to 9 years, because I've lost my dad, I lost my granddad, I lost my grandma, I lost my mom, and then a couple of friends in between, like who are a little older than me, a little younger than me, and I'm like, life is too short, Michael. So don't take too long to discover who you are. If you're spiritual, well and good. If you're not, I respect that. But I think life is too short not to be doing anything. You need to get up, wake up, even if you're tired.
Live fully.
And I think I remember when I was in London in 2019, I was standing, there's a picture of me. Actually, it came up on one of the Facebook memories. Activated Facebook recently, so I saw the memory. And I was standing behind the London Eye, and I was like, live life to the fullest.
I think I've seen that picture, if I'm not wrong. By the way, why did you deactivate Facebook?
So at a point, I actually, not really Facebook.
All the social media?
2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I deactivated all my social media accounts. I deactivated Instagram. I deactivated Facebook. I deactivated Twitter for a while. I only kept LinkedIn because it was the professional connection. And And then I reactivated Twitter because I realized I was actually engaging on certain topics when it came to talent acquisition on Twitter and LinkedIn. So the reason why you ask why I deactivated like the social media accounts is that during COVID, there was a lot of time spent online. And I realized now that you have more time to spend on your computer, I think for me it was more prudent to spend time on platforms that actually were more less. I didn't want to like engage on platforms with videos, memes, and things like that. I wanted to engage on platforms that could help me learn more. So I was on like different Udemy courses, just trying to learn YouTube as well, trying to learn different baselines. And sometimes you'll go back and see like I actually was doing like cover songs and the baselines to those cover songs. So that actually like replaced.
Okay, fair enough. So and then you come back, TikTok is on fire. Are you on TikTok?
You know, I got onto TikTok once. And there, I'm just going to hum this song. There was this song. Na, 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 na. You know that song?
No idea.
It was like da 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 da. So it was a really
it's almost making sense.
Yeah. It was like 3 years ago, I think, or 2 years ago. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. So I came onto TikTok and I was like, we had gone for a lunch to my godmother's house, and my mom was there with her friend and her daughter. And I was like, okay, let me sign up quickly on TikTok. And we did a TikTok video. And I put it online. I think it's still there, but it's a hidden video. And that was the only time I was on TikTok. But then it was quite addictive because TikTok was quite interesting. It's more for the Gen Zs right now. But
Jason Derulo. Yeah.
So that's the song Jason Derulo, Helpless Love. And so many people were doing the rendition of it.
And challenges.
So I was like, I wanted my mom, my godmother, and her friends to have fun. So there were two of us like who were like the youngest. Her daughter is like about like probably a teenager. And so we were dancing and it was really funny. So that's the closest I came to TikTok and engaging, but wouldn't believe right now. I deactivated my TikTok, I think a week later. But my team at Metamorphosis has encouraged me to get back onto TikTok.
Just to give you an idea how TikTok has grown. So a musician or artist have started like creating songs for TikTok. So they will not do the official video first. They'll do like a challenge and then throw it to guys. Once guys are familiar with it, then they can, produce the video later on. And then also from the video challenge, it has also grown to where even companies share the knowledge. So, and I think before it was like 30 seconds video. I'm not sure if it's that second. Yeah, less than a minute. And now it's 3 minutes. So you can imagine you can do a whole like an overview of a product or an overview of a solution or service that you offer. So I think it has matured, having gotten 1 billion users.
Actually, I have my 2 cents on that because I think Instagram to some extent and TikTok are rivaling to some extent when it comes to reels, video reels. If you actually following the right people on Instagram, you can get really good content in terms of consumption, in terms of learning music or learning about Web3 or any other topic that you're interested in. Because TikTok Instagram picks this up. It's Facebook algorithms running.
YouTube is also doing the same.
In the background. Now, yes, YouTube is also doing the same. But you see, YouTube is heavy in consumption when it comes to like data. So you're better off actually using shorter videos with if you're going technical, lossless,
Yeah.
kind of compression,
Yeah.
where it's not too much on the bandwidth.
Yes.
So I think there's lossless and lossy, if I remember from my networking in those days. And TikTok also has this interesting videos, like where, if you just want to disengage your mind, you find really funny videos. And then sometimes people have their point of view, but each platform has their user base and particular audience.
Yeah.
So far, I still have a preference for Instagram.
Okay, I see. Now, there's a reason why I asked you about TikTok.
Yes.
For me, it's more the tech that is being used there. Some sort of effect, CGIs. I think also they're implementing some AI to some extent, not like fully, but to some extent, whereby one person could be able to like mimic a couple of things or even change and perform as different people, which is not only entertaining, but also opens up to where the tech has come for the last maybe 2 decades or 1 decade rather.
Correct.
So for me, I'm always curious about this new tech and why there's quick adoption from young guys who are tech savvy. And I ask this, and this is your question. Back when we started maybe doing, coding, building stuff, things like PHP was the language to go to. Java, C, and C# was like the JavaScript of the day. And right now, if you talk about those languages as you speak,
you seem like you're ancient.
Like, are you talking about Pascal? Like if someone told you about Pascal back in the day, you'd be like, man.
But Michael, I mean, JavaScript and C++ are still like...
Yeah.
I mean, Java,
no dispute.
Java and
no
C++
dispute.
is like still authentic languages.
Yes, I agree. But not so many people who want to get into coding who want to start with Java.
No.
Or C or C++.
Why would you?
They want to do
too
JavaScript.
Complicated.
But there are legacy systems which actually still requires you to do that. But my question was, like, the way tech is changing so fast, what is your take on that? Like, how can we adopt, given that you're in this ecosystem when you're trying to like help people adopt, help people build? How would you say to someone who wants to get into JavaScript but still their legacy system? Someone who is still like you are, like Instagram is for me, but there's a new generation which is like, I love TikTok. It's quite versatile. And I can build something around it.
And the thing is, what I've realized is I've not been opposed to being on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I think
just preference.
Yeah, the ability to be flexible, I would say, in terms of exploring like what languages can actually help build a solution faster.
Yeah.
So now if I put my computer science hat on, for me, the language is agnostic.
Yes.
So what I'd say is, if you want to build a quick MVP, minimal viable product or a prototype, then first to get the solution and the logic right.
Yes.
And the wireframes and prototypes right. Really, what are you building or who are you building for?
Yeah.
Once you have that really key and locked in, you can go and engage your developer mind or developers around you and use very quick platforms or frameworks like Python and Ruby on Rails and the likes of JavaScript and all to actually do a really quick mock-up.
Yes.
So, they call this the min stack and things like that,
Man
right?
stack,
Yes, so if you want a really quick web mock-up, you can actually do that.
Yes.
Now, when it comes to platforms and languages like C++ and Java, we have to remember that these languages are still really important in the corporate world.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And when I say the corporate world, the likes of the Oracles and the likes of the IBMs and those who do middleware integration software are not using JavaScript, Michael.
For sure.
They are using C++. They're using
C#.
JavaScript.
Java, yeah. No, right? Java.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Java, sorry.
Yeah.
They're actually using Java. And you actually have trainings that are actually going on in the corporate world for these, like where you actually get certified to do like an integration on Enterprise Edition for Java with Oracle and other banking software like Sybase and all. So you have to know which world you're playing in. So are you playing in the corporate world? Are you playing in the startup world? Are you playing in the design world? So you have to know the context and know what skill sets and competencies that you do need.
And align yourself.
Yes. The work that you're doing and backtracking and saying these are the skills and competencies and the hard skills and soft skills that you need, I think need to be evaluated. Because you can't just jump in and be like, okay. I mean, if you really want to whip up something really quickly, you and I could just use an SQL database and PHP and then get it up and running. It could be like overnight. And to date, we do know some of these e-commerce websites are still running on PHP.
And there are a lot of templates actually even to do some of these things.
Exactly, you can do that. But then the security aspect of it.
The scaling.
There's a lot of like SQL injection going on, a lot of hacking going on those type of platforms. So you wonder about when you're building an e-commerce platform that has thousands to millions of users, you also need to think about the tech that you're using. It needs to be solid. So you actually eventually have to port your tech onto another platform that's a little more secure. So you can build with tools and languages for a point in time until it scales. But I also have seen like companies out there using very... they use languages and frameworks that are not even like mature like right now in this country. The likes of Elixir, likes of Go. It's really hard to find developers locally who actually
well, we're getting there.
They're getting there, but we need like, you're being asked for developers who have 8 years of experience. We have developers who are like, who've only built and learned these languages for
people still ask for 8 years experience?
2-3 years, yes.
What?
Yes.
I thought portfolio took over that. Like, show me what you can do and then I can decide if you can do what I need you to do.
If the companies are actually willing to bring like really talented, I'm not going to say young talent. I'm going to say talent that can be nurtured and talent that can learn really fast, then they're willing to do that. But I've seen companies struggle with just having like Elixir developer out there, Go developer, Flutter developer, and they're like, they struggle. iOS developers also are a big challenge to actually find locally. Given
also iOS change from Objective-C to Swift?
Yeah, Objective-C to Swift.
And that also is not an easy learning curve. However, I would say that the good thing with iOS is that they bring these Xcode that has all these libraries. It's a big file, but it helps a lot in like getting things when you need them, as opposed to what is happening right now. Every time you need to call a library, you have to like search it, install it, and everything is on pause until that is done. So anyway, that might sound biased, but
it's interesting that you mentioned like all these libraries and software development kits and things like that. So I remember when going to university, I'm being a typical Kenyan. I used to use Notepad. Right? Nice. Remember, because I told you I did like web design and I did HTML coding.
Yes, I remember that.
So I used to do Notepad, and then they're like, yo, you can use like the Java SDK. Eclipse and all those others. So like, in your second year, Java
runtime, you need that.
You've been taken slowly to do the development kits, the SDKs to make it faster, and you're like, wow, all these Notepad, and then you're here, you're trying to really like adapt, but I cannot tell you like how how much easier these companies, these global companies, have made it easier to actually learn these platforms by providing those type of SDKs. You know?
Yeah, for me, one thing that I've observed on the iOS is that part of where if they update, say today they have an announcement, they're updating a couple of things on the whole ecosystem, say the iOS, and they want you to update the app. So they don't just leave you in the world to look for it. They just have an update on S-code, and once you update that, now you can patch everything that is required, and then there's a verification point of that, and within 2-3 weeks you're up and running. So unless now you don't want to adopt, and if you don't want to adopt, they just remove your application from the platform. And they have done security really well. They have done data privacy really well, and I think there's a lot to learn from maybe tech companies from that, but that's another topic for another day. Jessica, a lot of ladies are struggling with engineering, and especially software-related roles. It's still considered as a man's space, which I totally disagree. But there is a couple of things that I've observed in the ecosystem. One of the ladies, or many of the ladies that I've seen them make it big globally, I've observed a few things with them, and I would like maybe to hear from you. One of them, they're really consistent. They don't mind if they are the only ladies in the house. And I think you mentioned that in the class of maybe 40 people, you are just 5 ladies. And they go an extra mile of putting themselves there and accessing all the resources equally and asking the right questions. And over time, they learn. What do you think we can do to ensure that we take as many ladies? Because I know if ladies become software engineers or engineers, they are really good, more than even a male counterpart, right? So what do you think that journey would look like if today we said we're embarking on ensuring that ladies feel as comfortable to pursue engineering?
Engineering generally, or software engineering?
Let's just talk general, because engineering is engineering. The concept is the same. It's only that you take one path to do the hardware, software, or just middleware.
Correct. Okay. I think this stems from the iHub days.
Yeah.
When we're at the launch at the iHub.
Yeah.
And my colleagues like Judith Owiger and Linda Kamau were all in that space. And we actually counted the number of ladies in that room, and there were like 300 people. Michael, it was perturbing. We're just like, are we like only less than 10 or 50 people in this room for women in tech? Like, we were just trying to understand like who's graduated from computer science or
back then.
Yeah. Or IT, like a BIT.
Anything, yeah.
Anything computer related.
Yeah.
So we actually said that we were having a conversation. We said there's a problem right here, right? Because if you have a conversation with somebody who's just graduated from an engineering degree, whether it's computer, hardware, software, they end up in like management consultancy roles, and you're like, okay, but you studied computer science.
Yeah.
I ended up in management consultancy, but I got rotated to research, and then eventually helping the Faculty of Information Technology mentor BIT students on their projects, and then running mobile boot camps. So to some extent, like using the computer science knowledge, and then very useful. The management consultancy that I did was very useful during the iHub days, but then the computer science kicked in when I was back at the startup Brave.
Yeah.
And again, it's kicking in now, right? Just to understand the world of Web3.
Yeah.
So the women that have made it out there, they're very few.
Yes.
When you say women in tech.
Yeah.
And I think let's mention them. Yeah. The people are like Shiro Theruri, who's moved from like Sandy VP of Engineering now to Glovo. She's in Spain. There's Roinia Ocheng, who was ex-Microsoft program manager, very good on product and getting the developer community going, who's now at a growing startup.
Yeah.
There are other people like Judith Owiga, who is in my class. She's a consultant in mobility. She was the founder of Akira Chicks together with me and other ladies. And now she's actually at the UN doing mobility research.
Yeah.
There's Linda Kamau and Marie Gethinji, like, who are actually the active co-founders right now at Akira Chicks, encouraging women to actually study software development and entrepreneurship and design.
Yeah.
So they have been running Akira Chicks for the last 12 years since we started it.
Yeah.
And we need more women like them taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
They had full-time jobs when they were doing it, and then eventually in the last couple of years decided to fully focus on this, and they have a full campus in Nairobi.
Yeah.
And they graduate about 20 solid women who come from marginalized backgrounds.
Yes.
Around Kenya, these are women who've come from Samburu, women who've come from really, really sometimes traumatizing backgrounds.
Yeah.
To actually have hope that they can actually get a career in tech.
Yes.
So what I can say is the women who are in this space need to be woke. We need to be there for each other.
Yes,
we need to collaborate with each other and say hey, the field of engineering is not only for men. It is for women.
Yeah.
It is for everybody.
Yes.
And I like to say this, Michael, whether you're a man or whether you're a lady or whoever you conform to, because I want to be neutral to everyone, right? Whoever you conform to.
Yes.
You're, at the end of the day, you're a human being. A human being with a lot of potential.
Yeah.
And it is right, we have different biological capabilities, physically and intellectually.
Yeah.
But the mind is the mind, Michael.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you harness the full power of your mind, you're able to actually achieve, and this is what we don't realize.
Yes.
You're actually able to even achieve that dream of going to NASA. You can achieve it. And I think there's one person I really want to mention, she's called Kathleen Simiyu. And I met Kathleen when we were running the Brave data workshops.
Yes.
And she was doing her undergraduate at JQuet, computer science and math.
Yes.
And you can just see she was just really outspoken, and I was just that's really, and then I just that is talent right there. I think I remember giving Kathleen an opportunity to internet Brave, and then I think she also had an opportunity to internet Africa's Talking. Yeah. And she took Africa's Talking, and I was go for it.
Yes.
If that's going to be your path and you feel like you're going to learn more, go for it. Yeah. I don't think so. You need to hold on to talent. Whatever they feel, you encourage them. And Kathleen has made immense progress on her data science career, her path. 5 years to 6 years down the line, she was doing devrels, developer relations at Africa's Talking. She was the head of data. And I remember some of the interns that came in at iHub were hired by her, a lady called Catherine. And eventually, I think Google was after her. She turned it down. She still continued working for Africa's Talking. The resilience is amazing because she knew she was still learning, and Africa's Talking provided an opportunity for her to continue harnessing her full potential. So that was amazing. And I think Kathleen to date knows more in data science than I do.
Wow.
Right? Because she embarked on natural language processing for Kiswahili, and now she's a Mozilla Fellow. Now, to become a Mozilla Fellow, I did see the requirements. I think she's doing a master's in Georgia Tech. and that's a really hard master's to actually complete. It's very demanding, very, very demanding, especially when you have a full-time job. You have to be spot on the assignments, and the coursework is really rigorous. But Georgia Tech is one of the best in the US. So to be a Mozilla fellow,
it's not a small feat.
It's not a small feat. It's like becoming a TED fellow, but like in a different world. So I think, you see, just using Kathleen's example, and I have other examples which I'll mention. Kathleen, she asked for advice where needed. She had a network around her. She would ask me for advice. She would ask other people for advice. By the end of the day, she was woke. She knew what she wanted. So we as women, and even as men, we need to be clear what is our purpose. When you want that, for me, it's unleashing the best in people and having authentic leadership. Go for it. There's nothing going to stop you. Right? There's also Liz Ondula, right? Liz Ondula also interned with me at the iHub in 2013. She and a gentleman called Washira actually ran the first kids hackers camp, the whole of Nairobi. And then everyone copied that whole model.
I see what you say there because I see a lot of that nowadays.
Yes. So Liz was studying at technical university and really interested in mechatronics. So she formed her final year project was a quadcopter that she actually made from wood. She's very artistic as well. Like she can actually draw art, but she also would code and do hardware stuff. So we'd have hardware hackathons with her at iHub. And Liz ended up being hired by IBM Research and worked there for 3 to 4 years. And then she came to Brave. And the story I can tell you about Liz was some of the people around her didn't believe that she could actually make a career in engineering.
Why?
Hardware engineering, software engineering, because she was a woman.
Just because she's a female, no one believes she can do it.
Yes. Now, you know where Liz is? Liz is a PhD student in the US. Yeah.
Pursuing things in science.
Pursuing things in artificial intelligence.
Nice.
As we speak.
Nice.
She's doing her research.
Yeah.
It's amazing what she's been there for the last 4 years. And Liz is somebody who supported me last year when my mom passed. She came and she was like, I'll be there for you. But she believed in herself and she has that focus and she knows where she wants to be. I can mention another lady, Strathmore. I think this might be a bit sensitive to mention on this forum, but I'll mention some of her professors said she wouldn't make it.
Was she a student or colleague?
She was a student, final year student, and she came to me and she was almost in tears. I was like, which lecturer is this telling you that? I was mad. I was going to go after the lecture and tell him off. I'll not mention any names here, but I was like, you don't worry. You believe in yourself. You built this software, mobile software, till now, and you're still doing it. So continue doing it. Do you know where she works now? She works for Amazon in the US. She's in Seattle.
Amazing stuff. So are you saying also we stigmatize or stereotype most ladies because they know what they want?
No, you see, what the society does is we have a way that we view women. And we view women in a very traditional way that we're not able to actually cover the sciences and the math side of things, right? But actually women are more inquisitive about not just doing the 1 + 1 = 2. We want to know, how does that 1 + 1 is equal to 2? We go deeper on that side. So I think that's an important thing to note. And I'm not saying men and others as well don't do that. I'm just saying that we've built a stigmatized community in tech where we need to stop that. We need to encourage everyone as human beings that we have potential, and you empower people. Once you empower people and they get out of the box, the person is able to achieve so much, and you will be bewildered.
Yes. So how can we do this? How can we the stereotype or the stigmatize ladies who are in tech? And also, how should we ensure that process, and this actually takes me back of you and other ladies starting Akira Chicks, which is still, I don't know how successful it is until today, but I hear that it's one of the biggest platform that is focusing on less privileged ladies to support them in their tech journey. So we, among us, maybe Akira Chicks, and you can speak about it and how it was conceptualized and the success and everything, but what more can we do on those lines?
Right. I can only speak about the early days of Akira Chicks because I actually stepped down as a co-founder many years ago. I think the best people to speak about it are Linda Kamau and Marie Gidinji. They've been running it actively for the last couple of years and have kept it. But I'll just tell you, the genesis of it was I was like, ladies, we need to do something.
Yeah.
So when the iHub was launched in March 2010, a couple of weeks later, I was like, hey, ladies, we need to actually meet. We need to have a forum whereby we need to encourage more women like ourselves to have these conversations of why we should actually stick in tech and why we need more ladies in tech and engineering.
Yes.
There are pictures of it, meeting, there's videos of it, and about 10 women showed up. Some fell off the bandwagon, but the initial group formed Akira Chicks. I remember securing the domain Akira Chicks .org.com at that point in time. And then Linda put together a training program. Marie was like, let's get women. And I remember Angela Lungati, who's the CEO of Ushaidi, also trying to get people to subscribe to teaching. People in the
volunteers.
To teach. And there are a lot of people who are willing to give back and teach these young ladies. And to date, they actually commercialize that business. It's a not-for-profit, but it's one of the best coding accelerators for women who are underprivileged, and relentlessly the women, you should see, they reach out. They're not only from Nairobi, they're from different parts of Kenya and East Africa, I believe. And they reach out and they ask for internships after their program, after the program. And I know a lot of startups like Twiga and Utu and Africa's Talking, I believe, have supported the interns, and some of those interns have actually gone off to rise in the career ladder. There's one lady, I think, who I used to mentor. She's called Cheryl Wangari. She was doing a bit of design with me while I started a platform for women who mentor and innovate in Africa. I'll talk a little bit about why I started that. And you could see how raw she was in 2015. And I asked her, Sharon, what do you want to do? And she's like, I want to own a Touareg. I'm like, yeah, you'll get there.
Nice,
she was only 21 or 22. Sharon right now, she was a senior UI designer at Sandy, and then she went off to actually become a senior UI designer at Space Tech. So you can see how they are rising. Because they actually, she was blunt. I want this. And there's nothing wrong with saying you want money to actually be financially stable, you know? So there are stories out there, and I think there are a lot of under-documented stories of the successes of some of these initiatives that have been started by women for women in Kenya and across the continent, right? We need some of these success stories coming out.
Yes.
Yeah, I think in the previous podcast I did mention that we have all this funding, but we need again success stories of where this
what has happened after the
what
funding.
has happened. There's this business model that has been developed.
Yes.
There's this amazing tech talent that team that has been developed.
Yes.
And things like that.
Yeah.
You know, something that just hit my mind right now. We have a lot of entrepreneurs learning from global entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So I happened to see an entrepreneur based in East Africa learning from entrepreneurs in the UK because they've started similar businesses. I have no issues with that, but I do have some issues with it.
Reservations.
I said, yes, because I'm like, okay, we go all the way to the UK for a dinner to learn from.
Oh, people do that?
Yeah. And I'm like, aren't there entrepreneurs here locally who have done it that we can actually knock on the door of Africa's Talking, knock on the door of other startups and say, can we just host a dinner or go to a dinner locally? Yeah. A trip around Nairobi to Tanzania or Nairobi to Kampala. Yeah. Or Nairobi to Dar, is a couple of hours. Yeah. Why can't we have that kind of collaboration locally?
Or Zanzibar if you want a fancy place. Yeah.
Yes, you've built the best billion-dollar companies. But if we do not learn from ourselves, Michael, and Teddy Warrior mentions this. Yes. We will not get to that level where we will get out of our insecurities. Yes. We will still be looking towards the West for guidance.
And even the markets are not the same.
The markets are very different.
And also, truth be told, if you're in UK, if you're in San Francisco, if you're in Israel, wherever you are, even in Nairobi, a lot of entrepreneurs have made mistakes severally. But the mistake you'll make in UK is not the same mistake you'll make in Nairobi. Correct. And understanding that at least in Africa, you can at least compare some of the experiences, maybe Lagos and Nairobi, and try to learn something tangible out of that. And it's also to say people should not go out there and know what is working, what is not working. But when it comes to learning, and that's why actually I started these conversations, because I realized not so much of this is out there. And, you know, correct. I don't like pointing fingers a lot.
No, we're not pointing fingers. We're just making a statement.
But I like putting, for sure. I like putting work into what I think I can fix at my level and then working on that towards the greater good that I want to see. And it's good, by the way, you brought this up. You said you started women... WMI. Africa. What advice that? And now, where are we right now?
So... WMI Africa is called Women Who Mentor and Innovate in Africa. It was supposed to be more of like a platform similar to the closest that would be was like the ADP list. Yeah. So it was to actually bring all, oh my God, I started this with Hilda Mora and Liz Ondula in 2013.
Hilda. We need to bring Hilda here.
Yes, you have
Hilda's
to.
Done amazing stuff.
Yeah, so I started, actually it was like Hilda's idea, and then she came to me and I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then I brought Liz into the picture because of her hardware engineering background. Yeah. Hilda had the BBIT and then I had the computer science. So that was an amazing mix. Yeah. And the idea for WMI Africa was really to have a mentorship platform whereby you could reach out to like women who have made it in tech in general. Yeah. So like, you remember in my previous podcast, I mentioned like the Kate Gitaus, the Oreo Colors, the Juliana Rotich, and all those other women in tech, myself included, Hilda included. Like if you wanted to reach out to any of those ladies, you could actually have a one-on-one with them. And now I'm not saying like you can do that via Twitter, but this is more of a commercial, streamlined platform where you could do this. Yeah. So somebody like any of the ladies that are like looking to grow a career in tech or design or become an entrepreneur could actually just get advice from them, right? So we built that platform, but the uptake, the user research was... people were like, why don't you just create a Facebook Facebook group, and people would have the uptake. So I don't think so that platform was the right platform for that point in time, because it wasn't sticky per se, because we launched it prematurely. And really what we did in from 2013, I stepped down fully from WMI, and WMI doesn't run anymore, but we got a grant from ISOC to actually train women on how to use the internet to empower themselves to actually learn more about people in tech. And I, to some extent, also funded WMI quite a bit to actually bring cohorts of women. So what Liz did, Hilda was an advisor, and then Liz and I were more active between 2013, 14, and 15. We brought about 3 cohorts of like 20 women in from different universities. We call them WMI ambassadors. They were from TUK, Technical University of Kenya, MUK, Multimedia University, JKUAT, like all the universities you can imagine. We brought them in. We actually had a curriculum where we taught them soft skills, and then we actually put them into a position whereby we wanted them to come up with projects and start pitching. And we brought like speakers like Dr. Carla Flamin. Dr. Carla Flamin was our advisor. She was a research scientist at IBM Research. And now she's an entrepreneur. But like you could talk to people like Dr. Carla Flamin. We brought in people like Sarah Kabira. We brought in amazing speakers. So the idea was, some of these ladies, they should just have that courage to actually talk, to not just sit in the audience, keep quiet. Have the courage to even go and say hi to that speaker. But what we notice is that some of them don't have that courage to talk to the speaker, and they miss the opportunity. And then you later send an email, and the speaker might not even have a recognition.
I see.
But WMI was all about like connecting potential talent to upcoming talent and potential talent to women in the industry. Whether it was all spectrums. So we tried so many different approaches. It was like getting the cohort, and that cohort to date is what forms a WhatsApp group called Women in Tech and Business. Lisa and I are not on that platform anymore.
Why?
We needed a break. So other people run it. So I think we are more of the people that start things and then believe in that community to take it forward. I've started many WhatsApp groups, the KE WhatsApp group, the CTO WhatsApp group, many groups. But the thing is, I don't believe in holding on. You need to start things and let them go, and let the people in that community take initiative. But at the end of the day,
does that happen?
It does happen to some extent, yes. But not as much. They still wait for the veterans to get in and do stuff. But honestly, my advice, like to the women out there, it's about you. You need to be woke. You need to really see what's going on.
Be self-driven
in the community. Yes. And if you're not sure where to start, there's so many platforms that you can actually like access. Women who can give you advice on how to start. Not me alone. There are many out there. Reach out to them.
Now, speaking of that, Jessica, because you mentioned a couple of very fascinating experiences and platforms that you've built, but at some point you just step down or you leave it. And one of the things that I've really realized for a long time now, I don't know if it's the market or the cultural thing, not only even for women in tech, but community approach of anything. Sometimes you need to go, you need to go the whole way or even stay there for a couple of years to have that sustainability, to have people who actually can really take over and do stuff. And sometimes you will find there is no one who actually can really do exactly what you intended with that community. People take over, take advantage, start, personal gains from the community. How do you think we can address that? Especially because I feel like even with the ladies or with the women in tech, there is a lot of community approach that is required, and it should be very consistent and intentional for us to really get where we want to go. But even then, how can we address some of these issues whereby people don't understand that someone volunteers? You said you spent your money to fund some of these projects.
Yeah.
Before even you got maybe one grant that you got over the years.
No, I only got it was a 10K grant, and I didn't even use the full thing. I think they kept half of the money.
Yeah. So people don't realize that, especially people who come for that community. They think you are there. Maybe if you run it really well, they think you have all this capacity or you have the resources, but sometimes you just chip in to make sure the experience is the right one. So how can we harness that to ensure that we have something that is really sustainable and as well impactful? Because without that impact, then at the end of the day, it's just wasted time.
Yeah. So someone, again, I'm actually surprised I didn't mention her.
Yeah.
Dr. Shiko Gitao. Dr. Shiko Gitao is an amazing human being. I can't even express how much respect I have for her. She's not doing a women-led approach company, but her company is called Kala, and it's a venture builder.
Yeah.
Now she is encouraging women entrepreneurs and women in tech to join her company, whether it's at an associate level or an intern level, to just learn about how to build a product, how to work with product teams and level up. Yeah. And then eventually you work on different projects with multiple stakeholders, and you can go, and then you can leave Kala at a point in time and go and work for the bigger companies.
Yes.
Depends on what you want.
Yes.
But I think she's actually putting a business model behind what she's doing.
Yes.
Instead of just building the communities like that, just getting cohorts and getting them out, getting cohorts and getting them out. Yeah. She's building a venture builder. So this is a company that actually helps put teams together, and you have an asset of different teams with different skill sets that can help you build a MVP, minimal viable project or product.
And this is lady
Dr.
only?
Shiko Gita. No, it's actually a mix.
Okay.
It's actually a mix. Yeah. But you did ask how
can we sustain
this.
Yeah.
Now, the likes of Akira Chicks are sustaining it through grants. The likes of the Moringas, which are not lady only, but are also sustaining it through grants again, to a certain extent.
No investment?
And commercialization. They did receive some level of investment, but I just think coding accelerators are really hard to fully commercialize. Yeah. You do need some level of grant funding.
Yes.
Ad tech as a whole is also hard. Yeah. Need a level
of company supported
of grant funding. Yeah. Unless you have a corporate investing in you fully. Yeah. And then you find a viable business model to scale. Either it's the business model could be charge per student, and then the volumes of that. Yeah. But what I'm saying is, when you put communities together, I'm just trying to think of a women-led only community that's really sustainable. There's a group for women who are in their professional stage of their lives, who are looking for different advice. This Women Work, started by Isis and Asha Meru. They also have grant funding to some extent, and it's not fully has a viable business model. But I think if these communities that are women-led can actually have some kind of model that they can actually find some stickiness to actually have the community run itself, then that will be successful. Yeah. And I think the person who has come closest to this is Patricia from Kayana. Kayana is a co-working space for women.
Where is it located?
Nairobi.
Okay.
It's located in Kilimani. So Patricia Okello, it has that space and has set it up for a couple of years, and she has a lot of women. She had Melinda Gates come, I think, about 3 years ago, and as part of that roundtable with Melinda Gates. So, just having a place like that and having events and having kind of like different corporate events, that's a viable business model to engage the community to come together, because you build a community, you build that mailing list, and then you engage them through different platforms, whether it's events related, whether it's
trainings, workshops,
partnerships that you get with different organizations and things like that. So I think that's something close that the closest I've seen that has a business model that's sustainable, and probably even Shikoki Tower's company Kala. It's not women focused only, but it is something that can be used as a benchmark.
Yes. And Jessica, from your experience, do you think maybe separating or isolating women and saying this is for women and this is for women only, does that really work?
To some extent, Michael, I would. I'm kind of not agreeing, but I would agree because sometimes women have issues that they feel they need to discuss in a safe space. So I would agree that like women in tech, women in HR, women in business, like they have their own conversations which they actually need to have spaces that they can openly converse about. But the same thing needs to happen on this side. Men need to have their own events where they say this is women, man in business and man in tech. I am so serious because men, honestly, they don't talk about their issues. They probably talk about it over a drink or something of the sort, or golfing or doing any other activity like camping and things like that. But I'm just like, if we are doing it, even man can do it. There's nothing keeping them from not doing it, and we not feel offended. Well, I'll not feel offended. But coming back to the man only, we need to stop manels. Man only on panels. We need to have women on those panels.
But you can't force these things, Jessica.
You can't, but you need inclusivity.
I truly agree. And the interesting aspect that I've seen with the engineering side of things or the science side of things, it's not something that you can force issues, right?
Now you say that, and this is getting heated right now.
Yes,
because you asked that conversation, you said we have the women-only events, and that's fine. And we're okay with the men having their man-only events. We're not going to come in and say, hey, can we be part of this? But we're asking for cut the pie halfway. If you're going to have a panel, don't have 100% man-only panel and you mean to tell me there's no man in technology that could not discuss this, or no VC. I mean, there's no women in tech or VC who could not contribute to this conversation. I think these organizers, event organizers, and the panel should be aware. They should raise it out and be like, hey, we're actually missing a perspective here. That
I have no dispute, but I think this is a problem that we need to address from where it starts, right? So say I do an event, right, that culminates to the bigger conference where I need a panel or panelists to discuss certain topics, right? And the way people who do events actually approach it, and I'm sure you've done events, is that you reach out to people you already have interacted with, or you know their knowledge capacity and all that. You don't just say, oh, yo, guys, we are discussing quantum physics, right? And we need 3 men and three women. It doesn't work like that. It's like, you know, the field, maybe someone is researching on this, they're doing PhD, or they are working on this project, and then you reach out to them as a courtesy call, right? But the other way around, just to like try to address why that happens, and also try to come up with, or maybe reason out which ways can we actually start working towards this, is that I reach out to guys I know, and if most of the ladies have not been coming to the event, or if they have been coming to the event that culminates to this big event, they have not been actively participating and therefore I don't know their capability or their capacity.
Correct.
And then I go ahead, maybe I have a group, or maybe I have a mailing list, or I have a network contact list, and I reach out to them and say, I'm looking for panelists. Again, they don't say, I want to be part of that panelist. So it feels like either they are not in a safe space to say, I'm okay, I want to do this. And that's one thing that I want us to, you can help me maybe address this. How do you think we can create those safe space, not from the panelist part of it, but from the what happens before the panelist, so that by the time we're having that panelist, the ground is equal?
So I think it's very straightforward. Like a couple of people in the ecosystem have created forms and said like, hey, say no to manuals. And I think there's a Rolodex of amazing women speakers that has been going through the ecosystem. It's been put out on a lot of groups on Twitter and things like that. I'm not sure if people have access to this, but you actually find hundreds of people, women around the continent, that are actually speakers on that form that you can actually reach out to. So a couple of people have taken initiative to provide this information. Like somebody who's really a really good speaker, not speak up. Obviously, you've seen me active in the CTO group. I'll be like, hey, I can moderate this and things like that. I don't think so everyone is like that.
Yes, you're outgoing, Jessica. Not so many ladies are outgoing as you are.
Yeah, so for those who are silent and things like that, I think I can recommend, people like me can recommend. There are Rolodexes of names that have been provided by the community that people, if they have access to these forms, they can be reached out to.
Okay, fair enough. And do we need maybe forums where we like even, because people might be really smart, but they're not confident enough to like share that knowledge. I know so many people who are like that. I've ever approached so many ladies, giving them a speaker slot, but and I know their capability already, but that confidence of standing there and sharing, and also feeling that this is good enough to be shared. So there is that, I think, disconnection. Maybe it's something that maybe we can address over time to like try and have forums where we talk about how to do this.
Yeah, I think that's a valid point. I think just going back for my university days, I was a very shy speaker. I wouldn't even want to do a class presentation. But I think during my days at Strathmore, interacting with the different students and Dr. Xavier pushing me and Edwin pushing me in front of C-level execs to actually have a conversation with them, doing due diligence on their company. This gives you and a man is doing that, gives you the confidence, shows you that they have like confidence and respect for what you're doing. And then also I think becoming a TED fellow changes everything. They put you on stage and they make you practice and practice. It's insane.
How many days do you practice before the main event?
It's about 2 days, but it's intense practice.
So I'm there are people giving you feedback.
They're like seasoned speakers, like people who have done this for years that give you feedback on how to actually like approach a talk and redo your presentation. But I think post TED, a lot of the presentations and approaches I did were like self-taught. Always practicing like in front of my mom, and then she'd tell me, actually you do a lot. Like maybe think, like should pick out certain things and give me feedback and say like try to minimize that. Pitching in front of the mirror, pitching in the bathroom when you're having a shower. I think that's really important.
So practice.
You have to have practice. Practice is important. Watching like YouTube videos of like people who inspire you as speakers as well. Like I could have a career as a public speaker if I wanted right now. I think like that's really important. And when somebody gives you feedback about your presentation, don't take it negatively. You're just like, okay, fine. Some people feel really touchy about it. I'm just like, it's feedback. So take it, leave it. Feedback is feedback.
Yes.
But some of them give you really good feedback. Be like, you could do it more numbers, facts, and things like that. Tell a story, and each time you learn. So back to how we can actually encourage more women to get out there and tell their story. It starts with conversation. I'm known for throwing people in the deep end, and I've done that several times, but I don't think so that approach works with everyone. They feel they're actually traumatized by it. They're like, oh my God, they start sweating and they're like, how am I going to do this? And I'm just like, just go for it.
Yeah.
And sometimes just giving them that encouragement and just working with them is important, and if you know a person's personality and character and saying this is not a person you just drop in the deep end, you need to teach them how to get into the pool, then swim with floaters, then probably do a bit of few strokes.
Yeah.
I think that's needed for some. So encouragement to just say that they do have the knowledge.
Yes.
These are tips on how you can actually be confident on stage
survival
or
skills.
on a panel and things like that. And not saying it in a condescending manner, like you're the subject matter expert and this is how you know it, but more in a very friendly, warm,
humane.
Yeah.
Now, Jessica, I've had this several times, even I lost count, that the greatest enemy of a woman is a woman. Maybe you have also had it.
I do agree with that partially.
Yeah. If you do, how can we address this? Because we all want everyone to win. It's not a matter of gender.
I met a lot of women and I asked them, sometimes you don't hang out with a lot of women. They're like, yeah, sometimes my best friends are, or the people I hang out are men. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And you ask why. Sometimes it could be upbringing. Maybe there was a trauma from
hanging out with ladies.
Yeah, mom or something. Or maybe the women in the family really condescending on you. But really, it is true, and I will talk about it very openly. Yes. Sometimes your worst enemy can be the person next to you who's a woman. It's a good and bad thing.
How good is it?
You have haters. At the same time, they're your friends.
How can a hater become your friend?
Oh, yeah. They say keep your enemies closer.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So this is my enemy, but you just keep them close enough to know.
No, maybe they know you're the enemy, but they're keeping you close.
Oh, okay.
Something
I see. It can be the other way around.
Could be the other way around. I am of this opinion. Trust no one. Right? Because at the end of the day, you come into this world alone and you die alone. All right?
Yes.
Sorry to be so blunt.
No, it's okay. Harsh. It's fine. Say the way it is.
Yeah. Yes, you came from a family. Yes, you have a mom and dad. But you live life as an individual and you also live life with a family around you. But what you do is very individualistic.
Just don't be selfish.
Yes. So at the end of the day, the decisions that you do make, the choices that you do take is what molds you. You can't blame your mom for your upbringing and saying you're this because of what happened or your dad because of this or what happened. You can't blame your friend because you're saying your friend gave you bad advice. You listened to your friend and you took that advice. You did not question.
Yes.
So we need to be a little more curious and question as human beings why, how, what. We'll just jump in and be like, oh, this is a yummy drink.
And it's poison.
Let's taste it. And we all go with it, right?
Yeah.
So, again, if you think women are your worst enemy, ask why.
And then address
men
that.
Men are your worst enemy. Ask why. Be paranoid.
Yes.
Trust no one.
Yes. That's the way we can address it.
Well, that's my way of addressing it.
Yeah. And you're entitled to your own opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So as we come to conclusion of this, I know, Jessica, you're always out there looking out on ventures that can actually empower others. And here you have Brave. You've mentioned it a couple of times. Do you mind telling us what Brave is and what are you up to?
Yeah, absolutely. Brave started 6 years ago. We pivoted a couple of times, but I'll actually tell you what we are really working on. We are working on workforce planning for internal teams for global companies. And we built a platform. It's called Discord, where you can actually...
Disco?
Disco, yeah, disco.
The dancing disco.
Yeah, disco.
Okay.
Disco. We named it Disco.
Oh, nice.
That's like the creative team at play.
Yeah.
Disco in the sense that you can ask any workforce planning questions to the simulator and say, "Hey, Disco, I need 5 data scientists for my project in the next 6 months. What do I do?" Disco gives you a simulation of what you have on your current team,
Yes.
the skill sets, the gaps, the revenue you need.
And these all automated?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Interesting. I think I had a peek on that product in development. I won't tell you where, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. That's what Brave is building. I transitioned out of Brave about almost a year ago to actually work on the continent. Since Brave is more global, I still am a director and a co-founder. So I attend the quarterly board meetings and help them in terms of connections for business development and fundraising. That's it so far as to how I work with Brave.
Yes.
Other than that, right now, I'm just focused on creating music as a music entrepreneur and the Web3 technology and really understanding how artists can actually commercialize their art and music. I still have a passion for talent, tech talent and product. So that's something I still continue working with companies on a consulting basis.
Nice. So I think that's interesting. Maybe next time we are here, you'll talk a little bit or maybe perform a little bit of music.
Sure.
And that journey, it was in transitioning from, tech to music. What's the relation and stuff like that?
To correct you, Michael, I'm not transitioned from tech to music. I am in the intersection of tech and music.
That's also interesting. And how does that look like? Thank you so much, Jessica. And it's been a pleasure always having some serious conversations. And this is Michael Kemadi. Call me MK from Impact Masters Media. Thank you for joining us. Have a fruitful day.